People in stock photos, what's the weirdest way you've seen your photos being used? When I was a kid, my mom took me for a photo shoot. Then a month later I was on a pamphlet that said millions of children don't have homes. Adopt one today. I ended up finding myself on one of those now hiring posts on Facebook for a company I was trying to get hired at. I'm in the header of my university's grad school application. Whenever someone posts a screenshot of their acceptance email, Facebook facial recognition asks if I want to tag myself. My cousin took a photo of me wrestling my sister at a family reunion a few years back and it somehow wound up on an online forum about domestic abuse. I had a few of my friends messaging me who were obviously very confused. Lol. Not me, but my best friend. He did a photo shoot in some construction worker garb and a hard hat. We live in North Carolina, USA. I'm on a business trip in Chicago, and I stopped by a Walmart for some supplies. I'm in the men's work clothes aisle and there's my buddy prominently on the wrapping of 50-ish packages of work shirts. It was a weird wait, where am I moment. I knew he did some modeling, but not specifics. I sent him a pic. He had no idea it had been used. The guy's in every Walmart in the country, and had no idea. I'm on the opposite end. I'm a graphic designer, so I spend a lot of time on stock photo sites and I have so many questions. Some of the photos I've seen, there's no possible context that would make sense for them to be used anywhere. My family did a stock photo shoot when our kids were young, like 1 and 3. A picture they took on our porch ended up in the opening credits for The Americans. My ex used to work with a local photographer who is apparently pretty well known. He took a photo of me and my family and now it's a permanent piece at the New Mexico Museum of Art in Santa Fe. So strange. I wonder how many people's houses I'm in. My friend was in a stock photo where he held up a baby picture and it got used for an anti-circumcision ad campaign. Was pretty shocked when I saw his face on the side of a bus. In the military, some cameraman tagged along on a mission. Like 4 years later I saw footage of me in a gun turret on the news. I guess news broadcasters oftentimes just play generic combat footage and photos that look Middle Eastern-y enough and rightly assume nobody will notice that the shots were taken months or years before the actual incident they are talking about. I'm in an ad campaign in my home state in Australia for the government. I'm the face of Don't Buy Alcohol for underage people. It's just me looking like a dad hoss thinking of buying a drink, obviously for a teenager somewhere. Ironically, I don't actually have my own kids. I get emails from people I haven't heard from in years saying I saw you on the wall of the bottle shop. Which is kinda funny. I have some friends that found one of their wedding pictures from Facebook somehow printed on a pillow in a market in a Middle Eastern country. Like, they just randomly happened upon their wedding photo in a random street market. They are from the US. I googled my husband's name and a picture of him has been mistaken and mislabeled as and Coulter's husband. I had my photo taken in high school studying with my friend at the time. Almost 5 years later, my brother said I was in the county brochure for library services. The picture was most likely chosen cause of the diversity, Asian girl and a black girl. I got used as a person with intellectual disabilities. I also did not know my photo was going to be used for anything. I didn't even know I was in a stock photo until my grandma bought a picture frame at Sears with my T-ball team picture in it. In college, a photography student took some pictures of me playing classical guitar. I ended up in a Viagra ad. I was 19. One of my daughters has a few stock photos out there. It's always odd seeing her face unexpectedly. It doesn't happen super regularly, but it makes me double take when it happens. I was on a brochure to promote my company once. It was the generic look to your left and smile at the camera while you work type of shot. The university took a bunch of professional photos of me and some friends for their billboards and campaigns. I was pretty surprised to open a handbook and find out I was the face of their fine arts program. Especially pottery. I was a neuroscience major. I let a photographer friend take a stock photo of me. I looked sad in it, and it ended up on some website about victims of abuse. My whole family modeled back in the 80s. Somehow my dad ended up in a brochure for some born again church that said he was a sinner and adulterer until he found Jesus. Edit, this thing blew up. Thanks for my first gold kind stranger. This is the opposite of your question, but still relevant. My parents once went into a print shop near Ishta where they lived and saw a picture frame for sale with an oddly familiar looking stock photo in it for display. You know how frames usually come with some flimsy B&W stock photo of a couple or a family or something. Except it wasn't a stock photo, it was them on their wedding day. Apparently their photographer had some kind of connection to the shop and had his photos on display there. My parents were definitely surprised to see their wedding pics on public display, but they thought it was cute. I remember a guy made a post about this because he was on a meme. Then he showed us all the photos he was in because it was a royalty-free stock photo. If I find the thread I'll link it. NVM someone else found it. At my former company a middle-aged black woman agreed to take a photo looking melancholy and ended up on the section of the employee arbitration agreement of the employee handbook. So you just see a title with employee disputes and it's her looking somewhat pissed. Before the 2016 election, my apartment was getting tons of political mailers and pamphlets in the mail daily on who/what to vote for. I was going through the mail one day and see what looks like my roommate on a flyer that supported increasing taxes in order to fund homeless shelters. I was so confused because it was definitely her, same moles, she was in an army uniform, never served in the military, and she definitely wasn't homeless. Turns out she had taken some stock photos for a photographer in exchange for free headshots. We still have the mailer up on our fridge. I wasn't a stock model, a fake, but I was a child model. Got picked from a day camp, and they took a 2 series of pictures of me. The first was me measuring a girl's shadow with this newfangled thing called a meter stick. This was about 1974 or so, BTW. The other series was me pretending to eat a salad. They told me it was for a health book, like a textbook for health class. That was a long time ago, and I love telling people that I was a model, since I'm now 6 feet 2 inches and well north of 300 lbs. A model, like for the before picture in a weight loss ad. Heard that about 1,000 times, lol. My ex was on a bus stop ad for her college but someone turned her into Hitler with a missing tooth. Edit, swear it wasn't me. It made me laugh though. I won a body transformation contest on a bodybuilding site when I was 17. 10 years later, I and others I knew started seeing my photos in ads for random supplements I had never heard of. Not me, but my cats. When I was a teen my mother and I adopted a couple special needs kittens. One had a club foot that was fixed through a series of casts, and the other had a malformed front leg. My mother wanted some professional pictures taken of the little guys, so she took them to one of those mall photo places. The pictures turned out so well that the company asked mom's permission to use them in adverts. They even blew one up to poster size and hung it in the window. The picture that they used was the kitties sitting in a basket with only their heads poking out, so you couldn't see their legs. Nobody walking by knew that there was anything different about these cats. I posted a few pictures a while back over at /r/tripodcats of my tripod cat, all grown up. Am a request, either the boyfriend checking out another girl, the other girl, or the girlfriend with a WTF expression, the one that some joyless minister in Sweden tried to ban. Not really for a stock photo, but I was soldering some copper pipe when a photographer asked if I could stop for a minute and pose for a picture for some promotional pictures. They were for a collage of the skills taught in the program I was in. They didn't want a picture of me soldering anything though. No, they wanted me to pretend I was soldering. I told them, you know, I could actually solder something for you. They said no because it wouldn't look real enough. Whatever that means. Writing for a friend. He does voiceover work, not stock photography. His cousin was in a Home Depot and heard his voice. He was very confused looking for my friend in a set of aisles. He could hear the voice, but could not find his cousin. calling out his name. The voice would come and then stop before he found him. Eventually realized that the voice was coming out of a kiosk.